Grand Finals weekend. We're going to start things off the way we usually do here with our No Mod 1 to start. It is going to be Zach's last proof replay by none other than our streamer, Hoaq. Thank you for the replay. Pretty basic, No Mod 1 for the finals here. 196 BPM and sitting just below 5 minutes at 4 minutes and 27 seconds. CS4 AR 9.7. There is really nothing that is going to catch you off guard in this No Mod 1. It stays true to the general raw aim check styled No Mod 1s that you've seen in this tournament so far. You've got a couple of those square jumps and a couple of those horizontal 1-2s here, and then we bring it down like you generally see in these classic styled anime No Mod 1s here, with some consistency sections in here mixed into our key ice. Really not too much to explain about these No Mod 1s here. Keep up the conversation for a little while here, given how long this pick is. Again, this is 4 minutes and 27 seconds, making it the longest map in the No Mod pool by about 1 minute and 10 seconds over every other No Mod pick. So this is a decent bit longer than the rest of the maps you're going to be seeing for the remainder of this No Mod pool here, which means that this is kind of our consistency check in here as well. There's a couple other maps that, you know, maybe are on the quote-unquote longer end of things, but definitely a comfortable map to start you off here. Really not going too crazy on the star rating here. Last week, of course, we had the 7-star caffeine No Mod 1, only bringing it up to 7.3 stars for the No Mod 1 this week. It is not the highest starred map in the No Mod pool, nor is it the highest starred map in the entire regular pool in and of itself. But again, for the raw aim test, it does exactly, I think, what people expect of it. So you're really not going to be caught off guard by anything in here. Quite simplistic, if I would describe it in one way here. Just make sure you keep the focus through this map. This is definitely one of those picks where it's easy to zone out and then you hit a big jump section like the one you just saw there. And that is where you start to drop those misses. Big horizontal, vertical back and forth switches here. These kind of V-shaped jumps. Quite difficult, honestly. You know, you bring up these sub 200 BPM No Mod 1 maps, and it does add another aspect of difficulty to the type of you know, maps that you normally like to see in this slot. Maybe start to pick up in BPM as tournaments progress. Maybe starting to hit 210 BPM, but when you stay low like this, you really got to focus on where your cursor is going. Very easy to over or under aim, get complacent with where your cursor is going. Fun fact about the showcase for the finals here, I would say, what, maybe 90% of the replays for this showcase were set within the past 2 to 3 hours. So in case you wondered what kind of timeline we're working on here, a lot of late replays going into the game here, but definitely a lot of good feedback taken into account this week from previous weeks, and hopefully a few improvements in slots that I think some players were maybe not quite as pleased with in previous pools. I'm going to come into the last couple bits of the No Mod 1 here. A decent jump section there, and we're going to have one more big section into the ending here. Don't worry, the No Mod 1 is almost over. Your suffering is almost complete. Big jump sections coming into the ending here, though. There really is just no pauses in this, in the large jump sections, or rather, you don't get an easy finish on this map here. You do have to make sure you maintain that aim right into the ending of the pick here. And that's going to do it for us on the No Mod 1. That is going to be Zach's last proof into the finish. And that's your No Mod 1. 196 BPM, 7.3 star aim pick. and the longest map in our no mod pool. Next up, we're going to go to down the line. It is no mod 2. It's t+pazolite's Buzy Lake. This is the Ayane remix of it, also known as Frequentis. A interesting take on the general no mod 2 slot. I think we've slotted this as less of a traditional stamina pick and more of an aim-styled no mod 2. You really have to get the accelerating and decelerating, and this pick kind of sticks with that a little bit here. So you've got some cut bits at the beginning here. Again, you can kind of see really easy to find misses if you over-aim those stacks into the higher spacing sections here. Most of this map is, I think your biggest issue is going to be chain missing on some of these spacing changes. There are a lot of these dense stream sections broken up by higher spacing portions in here. And that's, I think, where most of the difficulty comes from. Also, at the ending of the pick here, it does spike just a decent bit. But a nice and chill introduction to this pick here. These tight pinch patterns, and then again, more of this decelerating into accelerating patterns in here. Really is kind of rinse and repeat with the patterning that you're going to be seeing in this pick, along with some of these longer linear streams in here. Again, don't over-aim them. They are not as fast as you'd think they are. And this ending quarter here is really where this map starts to spike up just a little bit. So you've got this spinner, and then you really go into a slightly higher spacing section, higher intensity. And it maintains more continuous streams here as well. So not only does the spacing increase a little bit, but you're looking at more continuous sections here, along with some of these slider jumps here. And maybe a little bit of stamina at the ending here just to keep it into the finish here. Some more continuous streams, no breaks, no spacing changes, really just tapping into the end there. And then it brings it in with some of kind of a repeat of that beginning section at the ending again. Relatively short no mod 2 here. Relatively straightforward, 200 BPM. This is slightly higher star rating than our no mod 1 and a little bit under 3 minutes there. That's going to be your no mod 2 for this week, aim styled. Next up, going to be our no mod 3. It's CHRONOPHANTASMA. This is the shortest map in the no mod pool. And yes, you are reading that correctly. This is a 1 and 20-second total drain time pick here. 276 BPM of alt. TV size, no mod 3. But given how short this pick is, it leaves very little room for breaks on some of these sections. You're also looking for more of a snappy styled no mod 3 this week. So you're going across the screen between patterns. You've got a couple of these triples mixed in here as well. A little bit of cursor control, not all continuous flow aim patterns in here. You got to be able to start and stop and go on through these. And of course, those kind of reverse patterns there. You've got these big, high accelerating flow aim patterns into these back and forth tight. A little bit of flow aim there, and then you kind of get back into the wide jumps towards the ending here again. And again, given how short this is, it really doesn't leave a lot of room for braking on this type of pick here. So be careful with where you drop that combo. Make sure you get that practice in, especially this high-intensity ending section there. And that's it. That's all there is for the No Mod 3 this week. Short and simple on that one. It's only 7.1 stars, surprisingly, given how short that is. That's the No Mod 3. We're going to kick it up a notch with the No Mod 4 up next. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So the second longest No Mod map in the pool. It's going to be Camellia's Chirality long version. This is the mirror map set. So this is kind of making up for the length missing on that No Mod 3. Your tech map definitely going to be a little bit on the longer side here. You got to watch out for some of these buzz sliders. There's not a whole lot of slider ticks in these longer ones in here, so you can kind of cheese your way through these if you really do want to. But those buzz sliders are quite unforgiving. It is very easy to find a break on a few of those. Got a little bit of a refrain section here. Catch your aim after that beginning section. We're going to get into more of a high-intensity middle. Again, those buzz sliders, watch out for those. Very easy to find a break on that if you let it go too early. But mostly on the aim for this pick, again, kind of similar to previous weeks. But a different style of No Mod 4 here. You're not looking for that pure slider aim. Maybe a little bit more methodical, a little bit slower, and maybe requiring you to follow these sliders a little bit more. You've also got some of these kind of short, snappy 1-2 patterns in here. You got to maintain that focus. And now we're going to pick up the intensity into the middle here for a bit. Of course, if you know this song, it really does kick up that chorus right towards the ending as well. Got these 1-6 bursts mixed in here as well, along with these slider jumps, and you can see a couple slider breaks here and there. Really not unsurprising given how this pick is formatted. Watch out for the accuracy because of those slider breaks as well. It can really take a toll on your score. As we just passed the halfway point here, you're going to get into that classic bit of chirality coming up next that we all know from the preview points. A little bit of an over aim there. A catch right here. You got to be careful with how snappy some of these patterns are. And now the section of the map that I think we all kind of know. There's that high intensity ending that you've been kind of looking for on this No Mod 4 here. So a little bit of methodical slider aim and short techie patterns here, and then you pick it up at the ending there. Is it for the No Mod 4 high intensity ending section. For maybe a comfortable introduction to that map, but quite a difficult pick for this pool. Definitely one of the harder maps in here. And now for the final No Mod map. It's No Mod 5. This is our gimmick pick, and this is definitely one that you all have seen before. The set of Japanese gospel. And of course we have to use the real skin for this map, because why wouldn't you? It would be a crime to not do so. So for all of those kind of reading precision gimmick players out there, this is the pick for you. Make sure you get your practice in on this one, though. There's a lot of patterns that can catch you off guard, not just with these kind of low BPM, low AR precise bits. But not a short pick on the No Mod 5 as well. So your gimmick players this week really not getting screwed out of a good pick this time around. 3 minutes and 17 seconds, almost the exact same length as our No Mod 4 this week on the No Mod 5. With that classic old map, kind of grid mapping style for some of these linear aim patterns in here, as well as perfect stack circles over the ending of these sliders here. And there is a quite large spike in the ending section of this map as well that you've got to watch out for. You can see how hard it is to act this as well. OD6. But it is, kind of relatively similar for most of the map here. There really isn't too much to explain after you see that beginning section until you really get to the end. So most of this is a repeat of the introduction of the pick. And here we come into the ending section here. Some of these overlapping sliders with these super high BPM bursts with stack sliders here. And there they are. So with these difficult overlapping sliders, really a lot of room to break and over-aim on a section like this at the ending. That's one of the harder bits there, and then you kind of bring it back in for the ending here. And that's your No Mod 5. That is the gimmick map in the No Mod pool. And that'll do it for us. The No Mods 1 through 5. We have our 3 hidden picks next. We're going to start off with our hidden one, sitting at 220 BPM, 7.3 stars. It is Yuugure One Room. You may remember this map from a few other tournaments in the past. Pretty interesting wide angle aim pick in here. If it gives you any idea on how delayed getting these replays were, I should not be the one to have done the replay on this. Pretty basic hidden one aim pick besides some of these more dense sections here. It really is good, Lucian style picks of kind of switching between those wide angle aim jumps and some more dense ones. Again, be careful on these wide angle jumps on these middle ones to not over aim those. Again, Lucian-styled maps definitely tend to throw some people off with these switches between these really dense patterns, and a lot of that you see these really wide angle corner jumps here. And this double section right there, a decent bit. Do not over-aim or leave those doubles too early. A couple triple bits here on the 220 BPM here. Some linear aim mixed in. And then again, a pretty difficult section on that middle there. Really no pauses, just back and forth, jumps non-stop in between those triples as well. And then the ending kind of brings it back to what you saw at the beginning a little bit. It eases you into it, and then you'll have jumps right into the finish here. Relatively short hidden one this week, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. Kind of relatively similar to what you saw at the beginning again, just these kind of wide-angle linear aim patterns in here mixed in with some of these really short, dense jumps here. That's your hidden one. It'll be the aim pick for the hidden pool. Next up is going to be our hidden 2. It's going to be that classic light tech map that you've seen so far. It is Camellia featuring Nanahira's POLKAMANIA. It's the amateur diff on the mirror map set of this. Definitely more of a flow aim pick than the tech pick this week, but you do have a couple slider streams in here that you've got to keep track of amidst a few of the other patterns. And you'll definitely see those coming up soon here if you've played this map set before, right after this section. We're going to get the finish of the build-up on this space part here, and now we get into these kind of linear triples here where you start to have to focus on that aim a little bit. You've got some of these short, dense wiggles. Watch out for these 1-6 bursts there as well. Another short pick on this one, 1 minute and 55 seconds. And another 1/3 linear aim section. A little bit of flow aim here in the middle. This map does have a couple of sections that do spike a little bit harder than most other sections, but pretty evenly distributed overall, maybe just between these refrain sections. Then, of course, this ending section is going to kind of return to what that beginning section saw with some of the slider stream jumps there. Really goes heavy on the slider streams here, but they're not particularly difficult to act as long as you flow with them properly. Definitely more of the type that you'll miss rather than drop the act on. But that's it. Fairly flow aim heavy light tech hidden pick this week on POLKAMANIA, making up for potentially the lack of flow aim in the earlier bits of the pool. We've already seen one gimmick map. It's time for the second one. It's the approach rating 8 hidden pick. It is going to be another t+pazolite pick. It's going to be Heartache Debug. Another good song in here. 180 BPM comfortable. And again, another longer gimmick map this week. 2 minutes and 49 seconds. Definitely the type of pick that you can play pretty well if you practice for this one. It's got a couple of interesting rhythmic bits in here, as well as some perfect stacks, circles over sliders in here. Don't pay attention to this replay from Luminescental. This is actually a full combo. You just can't see it. He missed to make everyone think that this was a difficult map. This is actually easy for Luminescental. Map is actually free for him. A little bit of a square section here, and don't over-aim those stream sections there. But again, here it is, these kind of overlapping slider sections in here, and you've got to get the rhythm down on these sections in between. There it is, a couple of those misses that come as a result of potentially over-aiming this pick. Again, just really something you got to focus up on a pick like this to get the rhythm down so that you don't go too far on some of these. But most of this pick is quite similar styled here. You're going to see a lot of, again, just this kind of rhythm-oriented, perfect stacking sections here. Another one of those streams that you saw at the beginning. You got a little bit of a slider section at the end where the BPM, or rather the song tempo, ticks up a little bit here. Then coming into the ending of this slider section here at the ending again, that shift and into that stream, and there it is. It was bound to happen eventually, an over-aim on those stream bits there. Again, very easy to potentially lose a lot of accuracy and drop your combo if you don't fully pay attention to where those streams are coming in. But with that, it's going to be the end of our hidden pool. It's going to be the hidden 3. Our second t+pazolite map in the pool. Well, as I was about to say, we're going to get into the hard rock pool. And if you heard me say third almost, I meant it. This is going to be our third t+pazolite pick. It's Sugary Sweets on the hard rock 1. 190 BPM, 3 minutes and 17 seconds. The hard rock pool is actually the longest mod pool this week. We have an average length in the hard rock pool this time around, I believe, of just over 2 minutes and 45 seconds, which rivals the no mod pool this week in terms of length. Nothing too special about the hard rock one this week. Really nothing too crazy. It is your generic aim consistency hard rock one. Got a couple of maybe slightly more difficult space sections in here with some of these streams. Quite a difficult pick, actually. This may be one of the most difficult picks in the hard rock pool this week, if not the most difficult pick in the hard rock pool. We definitely had a couple of last-minute switches in the hard rock pool overall on a few picks that we thought were actually even harder than this, potentially. But this one ultimately ended up being kind of that basic aim pick for most of it. But this is definitely one of the more difficult maps. Just slightly more comfortable for those who are kind of ready for this skill set here. Careful you don't find some over aims on some of these streams here, as well as the spaced bits there. Some extra high spacing parts here. Very, very much one of the more difficult maps in this pool, though. And that difficulty is kind of accentuated by the length of this pick as well. Normally this would be one of the harder maps in the pool, but 3 minutes and 27 seconds really making this kind of a strenuous hard rock one here. You've got to be able to focus up for this entire duration and be able to maintain your aim that entire time as well. Really does ask a lot of the players that are going to be in for this hard rock one. And that's the Hard Rock 1. That's your aim, high-intensity aim at that Hard Rock pick. That's actually, might I add, before we move on to the Hard Rock 2, the highest star rating map in the pool is 7.7 stars total. That is higher than our tiebreaker this week, for those of you wondering. Next up is going to be our Hard Rock 2. It is going to be a little bit more of a dense aim pick for this one here. It is Giga-P's Ready, Steady. For those of you that like songs like this, you're going to love this map. For those of you that don't like this type of music, you may not like this as much. A couple more awkward sections of this map, but for the most part, really focusing up on the aim here, as well as some difficult AC sections on this map. Is actually surprisingly difficult to get high accuracy on. Gonna watch out for some of those faster sections there. So you do have a couple doubles in here into jump sections here with some of these 1-6 snap sliders, and then those kind of overlap single tap sections there. But again, most of this map fairly straightforward. A lot of people are gonna enjoy this one. CS 3.9 rather comfortable as well for those Hard Rock players. So nothing too straining on top of that Hard Rock 1, which was really high spacing, and the Hard Rock 3, which is, of course, going to be CS 6.5. But here it is again, just pretty low BPM, methodical aim in this middle section here. Easy to find some mis-aims here, though, on these sections. Definitely leaves something to be desired for those playing this here. And, you know, a decently lengthy pick as well, about 3.5 minutes. Do not tap the last note of the stack. A little bit of finger control here, and that'd be kind of the beginning of that second half here in the middle here. A little bit of a difficult section to get good accuracy on those who are playing this map, especially those who are maybe considering sight reading some of these maps. This is definitely not one that I would recommend jumping into on a sight read. And then the ending of the map here, you're going to start to get into a little bit of a section with just a couple bursts going on in here, nothing too crazy. And then you got a bit of a repeat of the beginning section at the ending here again. Into the ending, a little bit of a slow section here, and then I think it picks up one more time into the ending here. And then it's pretty much just this until the ending of the map. Into the ending of the pick, that is going to be the Hard Rock 2, the custom from Luminescental for this week on the Hard Rock 2 slot. Next up is going to be our precision pick. It is going to be Magnitude Signals, 1 gigahertz diff. This is our CS 6.5 pick, 2 minutes and 13 seconds, making it the shortest map in the Hard Rock pool. But many of you have played this map before, I imagine. Maybe not with Hard Rock, but with some mod combination. There was originally an extremely difficult Hard Rock 3 map in this slot, and this is what we opted to put in here to kind of balance out the difficulty a little bit more. But there are some quite difficult linear space streams in the middle of this map here. Watch out for some of these buzz sliders as well, and you'll see what I mean by linear space streams in just a second. A little bit of a 1/3 section at the beginning here before we come into a few jumps. little bit of an aim section before we get into the first key eye of the map, and here it is, these linear aim patterns in here. More 1/3 as well. Now, most of this is actually fairly tame until the ending. Now, you get a couple repeats of that repeat slider aim that you saw in the earlier section. Not entirely sure what happened there. But then you get, again, these kind of repeat sliders into jumps. Don't miss on some of these slider ticks as well with some of these longer sliders. But a couple more of these streams here, but nothing quite as extreme as the ones at the beginning of the map. Fairly consistent until the ending here. Mostly just triples and aim on the sliders until you get to the very ending of the pick, and then there's actually kind of the reason we have no fail is the ending pattern of this pick that you're going to see in just a second with this cut coming up at the ending. And a spaced cut stream right into the ending section of the map. So make sure you watch yourself on that. But the rest of the map fairly consistent all the way through. Good CS 6.5 precision pick for this week. And that's going to do it for us for the Hard Rock pool. Next up is going to be our 4 double time picks, starting with double time 1, sitting at 263 BPM, our DT1. AR 10.5 as well. So you've got a fast, high AR DT1 here. A good song to boot, though. But definitely the type of map that kind of caters to previous weeks. Maybe a little bit more filling out the speed slot this week. There's a lot of triples mixed in between these jumps here. And some of these jump patterns actually get fairly consistently long towards the ending of this pick. And we're going to get into the first key eye of the pick here. Not a super long pick, 2 minutes and 26 seconds here. But again, that high intensity, 262 BPM, really makes this map quite difficult across the board here. Shoutouts to Discord. Shoutouts to Discord for being super cool and crafting. Now we get into the ending of the map here. Hey, I did mention that this is 9.2 base. AR 10.5 DT1 here. But again, fairly constant into the ending of the DT1 here. Really, the entire map is, you're not going to see any massive spikes in this pick. It really is consistent for the entire thing. But definitely maybe catering towards our speed players a little bit more this week. And that's the DT1. We're going to move on to the DT2 next. Is going to be our stamina DT pick. Sitting at 236 BPM. It's going to be Zune Magical Storm. It's a consumer of bean map. So these are, this is definitely our stamina DT map, but I think for most of our tapping DT players, these are definitely a lot of the stamina comes from just these consecutive high BPM bursts here rather than just super long streams. So you've got that really long stamina-intensive introduction section there. And then you've got a lot of these just moderately sized bursts broken up by some doubles and triples through here in sliders. And maybe a little bit of a breakdown section here. Another AR 10.1 DT, so bringing it back down from the 10.5 of the DT1. But 235 BPM, so you're really kicking up the speed for the stamina players on this one. And 2 minutes and 6 seconds means that it is somewhat accessible to those who may not be 100% comfortable with a pick like this, but this map will 100% favor those who are comfortable with tapping this BPM. A little bit of finger control in this one, though. Kind of characteristic of some late-stage stamina picks here. Maybe more so speed picks often, but again, the triples and doubles and these kind of awkward spacing with these bursts in here really does make this favored towards those who are super, super confident in this type of pick. So we're going to come into the last quarter of the map here. This is going to be kind of the outro to the stamina bit. Again, a kind of a repeat of that beginning section that you saw with some of these longer tapping sections here. Really only comes at the beginning and the ending. And that is the DT2. That's our stamina DT pick this week. Magical Storm. Now, if we continue on the trend of things, next up is going to be our DT speed map. It's going to be DT3. It's going to be Ayane's Juujika ni Sasagu Shichijuusou. So this is really kicking it up a notch on the BPM. This is a 270 BPM DT pick. Also, one of the longer maps in this pool. 2 minutes and 56 seconds. But we bring it down in the BPM again. So this is AR 9.7, so we're sub AR 10. A decently standard speed map in here. You've got a couple of longer bursts in this, but for the most part, this is, I think, what you kind of expect out of a DT stamina pick in here. You've got mostly aim and triples for the pick here, and then, again, just, yeah, a couple of these slightly longer bursts, but nothing too crazy, nothing that you couldn't, you know, technically mash your way through if you really wanted to. For those who are maybe failing on some of these DT picks in here. But again, comfortable for the DT players that are going to be involved in playing this here. Again, a longer DT3 pick this week, though. You really are kicking it up a notch, being at 270 with the 3-minute long pick. Does leave something to be desired for consistency, as well as some of the finger control sections coming up right there as well between the sliders and the stream. DT2 was Zun's Magical Storm, Consumer of Bean set. Now that you're kind of through that high-intensity guitar solo section in the middle there, you're going to kind of bring it back to what we saw at the beginning of the DT1 here into some more aim and bursts into the finish here. A little bit more consistent. a high consistency DT3 pick here. So you really do need to be able to maintain your kind of stamina and focus all the way through this pick here. That length kind of helps to do that. And that is our DT3. We've only got one more map left for you in the DT pool. And I know for those of you that played last week, no, we had a decent abundance of this. It's our DT4 is going to be Lapix, Flamenco House, another Jazag diff. We've got more Jazag maps for all of you, but this is a good one. This is going to be our kind of alternating finger control DT4 in here. We're going to kick it back up to AR 10.2, so above AR 10 once again, but many of you may have seen this pick used in tournaments before. The song and map are both fantastic for what this wants to test. So it is cursor control, it is finger control, it is high intensity AR alternating and pattern recognition. This DT4 kind of brings it all home. I think this DT4 pick will be favored upon greatly by many of our teams this week. Got the beginning half of the map here, and we've got another section of what you just saw at the ending of this map as well. Right here after this kind of refrain section, now we're going to get back into a repeat of the beginning section, but with more finger control from what you saw as well. These really snappy doubles and these 1/6 short bursts in the middle of this pick. And right here, we're going to kick it up another notch again into the ending. You're going to have these wiggles back and forth. Watch out for those slider breaks. This pick doesn't give you any time off. And here it is, finally, the outro of the pick. A very short DT pick, 1 minute and 33 seconds, but it's high intensity for the entire duration. And that's our Jazag map in the pool so far. The only Jazag map that has existed in the pool this week so far. And it's going to close out our DT pool. Next up is going to be free mod. Next up, it'll be our free mod 1 to start off. It's DJ Genki versus Grimm's Enerjar Joker. This is going to be kind of our, normally I would say speed free mod. I'd say speed slash more stamina than anything for most players on this. You're really looking for those players who are good at the tapping on this pick. So just kind of bursts into the beginning here, but you're really going to see some repeats of it into the middle here. Just constant bursts into sliders for the entire duration of this pick. Hard Rock players are probably going to have a decent bit of difficulty with some of the spacing increases that come with the mod combination on this. Right here, some of these maybe slightly more difficult stream sections here. Again, really stamina intensive on the free mod 1 this week. It really is just all about the tapping on this pick. 222 BPM means that this map will pretty much gate out any player who is not, I would say, on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe at least a 7 or an 8 in terms of confidence on stamina late stage here, because it really is difficult to mash through something like this with some of the kind of spacing increases towards the ending, and even if you have a mod, it's even worse. You got a little bit of finger control towards here at the ending, shorter bursts, higher spacing, mixed in with some sliders here as well. Pretty difficult for all mods, honestly, at the ending here. Even hidden players will maybe have some difficulty with some of the changes at the ending here. But it's going to outro the way we began, back into triple bursts, into these slider aim patterns here, into the 5-note bursts. Maintain the stamina into the ending, a couple long streams here, and free mod 1 will take you all the way into the finish. That is Enerjar Joker for free mod 1. Next up, free mod 2 is going to be the showcase of a hard rock play. It's Adagaeshi Syndrome by Mafu and IA. This is going to be our alternating kind of rhythm-styled free mod pick in here. So for those alt players who are good at these rhythm changes, watch out for those kind of 1/6 triples and doubles mixed into this pick. High-intensity map all the way through. Again, another map that really is pretty unforgiving in terms of where the pauses are. It just keeps it going for the entire time. Again, the big point of difficulty on this map is definitely going to be the transitions that most players are not used to, going from these kind of wide-angle alt patterns into these high-intensity kind of 1/6 bursts coming into here, or rather, the 1/4 snap burst versus the 1/3 jumps. Standard alternating switches. This could even be a speed map for those who are maybe not too accustomed to this style of alternating. I wouldn't be surprised to see some people attempting to maybe single tap the key eyes and then alternating the flow aim sections in between the middles. Can definitely see how much more difficult this does become with hard rock, though, with the spacing increase and where you need to kind of place your cursor around transitioning. So not only do you need to be able to focus on where your cursor is with hard rock, but you need to be able to focus on your finger control while maintaining that. So this pick really doesn't give you any chance to catch your breath, if you will. 2 minutes and 43 seconds, so a decent length as well. You're really kicking in the consistency, some decent bits there. We're going to come into the last quarter here. Again, one more section, that high-intensity alt at the end. And that's it. Free mod 2 into the ending. Your high intensity finger control / alternating free mod pick in here. And with that, we're going to go into the final map of the regular pool. It's a map that you've all probably seen before. It's SHK's Imagination SHD diff. And look at Shichijuusou with that easy FC. For those of you that know this pick, it is a slow, methodical aim pick. I guess it's the only way I can describe it. A great easy pick for those players left in the pool who can handle the easy modification or who can put the practice in for it, given the easy multiplier on this one, as well as being pretty comfortable for most other players that are going to want to take a mod on this as well. This is CS 5.3 AR8, so for our hard rock players, this is going to be a little bit smaller than that general CS 5 AR8 pick, but you shouldn't have too much trouble on this given the BPM. This linear section is actually maybe one of the more difficult sections with hard rock. And then the hidden players just really have to watch out for the density of this, but the easy is definitely throwing off what this map actually kind of looks like with most other mod combinations here. I'll try and point out maybe some of the more difficult sections. Back and forth sliders, another decent point of difficulty for those hard rock players. You've got to watch out for the spacing of these and the circle size. And then, of course, for our hidden players, you've got to watch out for maybe some of these perfect stacks, as well as these more dense sections in here. Again, really easy to find a miss-aim or an over-aim on some of these flow-oriented sections or the linear patterns in here. That's it for the free mod 3. So for those easy players looking for a good pick to practice this week, this is definitely one for the books for you here. Definitely get your runs in on that one this week. And into the ending of the pool showcase, that is the last map of the regular pool. All that's left is our tiebreaker, and I mentioned it's one that you may be seen before. It's the Isamir D'Angelo Sacred Bones Riot. So the Slay My Sins difficulty. A mechanics-oriented consistency tiebreaker. This map is aim and streams. That is what you're looking for in this pick here. And there really isn't much to describe about this, because I feel like people have maybe played this map at least once in their time in tournaments. We'll let you all kind of just chill with this tiebreaker for a bit, maybe absorb the song. There's really not too much to describe with this map here. Again, aim and streams. That's it. That's it. I really am trying to find some way to describe this tiebreaker other than mechanics, but that is, like, genuinely just what this map is. You definitely have a high-intensity section coming up at the ending of this pick as well. Maybe some of these longer streams here. For those of you wondering, this map is not 280 BPM. This map is actually 200 BPM. All of the other statistics are correct for this map here. Just figured that is important to clarify. This is a 200 BPM tiebreaker. I guess something funny to note as well, the replay for this tiebreaker is actually a little over 3 years old, I think. You got a couple 1/3 bits here. We got a bit of a pause section now before we get into the ending section of the map, which is another kind of one of those difficult spikes. The aim section here pretty focused with these 1-2s back and forth. Yeah, try not to slider break there. This really is the spike section of the map, though, right here. This is kind of like that high-intensity aim and stream section. Bit of a 1/3 section before the ending. Streams will continue all the way into the ending of the map, even through those slightly more difficult ones. They're the longer bits. Definitely one of those tiebreakers you're going to have to learn to hold your nerve on if you're one of the mechanics players that are going to be spinning this one up. A bit of an aim section into the ending as well here. And in the last slider, that is it. That is the tiebreaker at Sacred Bones Riot. 5 minutes and 22 seconds to hold your nerve for the mechanics players. Could just maybe win you the match this weekend, should you see this pick. But that's going to be it for us for the entire finals pool. That is our 5 no mods, 3 hiddens, 3 hard rocks, 4 DTs, 3 free mods, and tiebreaker. There's only one pool left to go, and it's going to be the grand finals next weekend. But before that, we've got a lot of really good matches coming up for you this weekend. All of our final matchups, we've got our winners bracket, which will decide our top 2 of our top 3 slots, and our losers bracket match, which will decide our 3rd place contenders. All coming up this weekend, Saturday, starting on April 22nd. I almost said 29th, 22nd. So don't miss it. We'll be there with this pool and all of our remaining teams. That's going to be it for us for now. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next weekend for matches.